Hey guys, Hailey, Lain, aka Key Black here, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Cuff. Today I have with me Jessica Calais Sheffield.
Hello.
And Mon Pian.
Hello.
And we've been talking a lot about Legend of Zelda lately, which is kind of funny for me because it's one of those series where, like, I was aware of it growing up, but I was like 160% a Sonic the Hedgehog kid, so that was the only game I played with the occasional, like, Pokemon Ruby, Pokemon Emerald in there. So I was aware that Legend of Zelda existed, but I had no idea what it was beyond, like, you got a sword, you save the princess. You know, that sounds like fun, I guess, but yeah, I'm way past cool, moving supersonic speed, that's all I cared about. And so, you guys showed me Ocarina of, the series basically starting with Ocarina of Time a couple years ago.
Well, it was during the pandemic. We didn't have much to do. And as usual, I'm like, hey, Zelda was a pretty good game.
And I'm like, oh?
And like, you've never seen it.
Yes.
I never played through it. I played an older one, but not Ocarina.
So I was like, let's just binge watch someone playing Ocarina of Time. And then it turned into Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask.
Yes.
Twilight
Princess, yes.
You know, the last game ever made. And
it's a good finale.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
They ended strong.
Yes.
They didn't jump the shark. It's amazing.
It's funny because, like, you know, I wonder as well with some of the more recent games coming out that kind of might have colored my perspective on what Legend of Zelda was, because I thought it was a lot more lighthearted as a series than it turned out to be, from Ocarina of Time through Twilight Princess, and I guess before then, because we just watched Link's Awakening as well, and that was, you know, it's cute, but it's heavy. It's a lot heavier than I was expecting it to be. I really enjoyed it. I think I surprised myself with how much I enjoyed, like, you know, like, oh, okay, so yeah, you do your heroic thing, you swing your sword at the bad guys, you kill the monsters and you save the princess and all that, but it's like, that didn't have the happy ending I was expecting it to have. There was a lot of creepy stuff along the way. The fairies were a lot scarier than I expected them to be. But like, you grew up with the games, right?
Yeah, I've been playing Zelda since I was a kid, sort of like super excited for every game that came out. And I was, you know, the only games I played as a kid were puzzle games and story games. So Zelda had both. So I was like, this is the best game ever made, and I'm gonna play these to death forever. And so like, I would, you know, scour Nintendo magazine and like ask my brother and be like, hey, do you know if there's a Zelda coming out? All the way up. So yeah, I love these games, and they just like formed, the narratives in them and the characters in them definitely formed part of what I understand writing to be, like good writing and good presentation.
I'm not very good at picking up the underlying motifs or anything, but it definitely hit in a place that I didn't, you know, I'm not used to video game stories hitting, you know, where it kind of like, oh, I feel like there's actually something really significant happening here. I don't understand it, but
and
like,
that's kind of unusual for Nintendo as a company, because they're usually very, very simplistic, you know, very cutesy, fun games. You know, the emphasis is on the actual gameplay, having fun, how to, you know, get as many people in a room as you can to have fun together. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you sort of load up a Zelda game and suddenly it's like, it's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you're about to have a completely different experience and it'll be just as good.
You and your friends are about to do 3 years of therapy in an hour. Enjoy.
Opens up on a storm scene. We're in it now.
Oh, jeez.
So I remember when we first started watching, I mean, this happens a lot where it's sort of like I recommend something, and if it's something that Hailey has never had any experience before of, she's kind of just like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay,
like, I guess we're watching this It's old series, I guess.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It's like, I already played my Wolf game of 2008.
And it's like, you know the memes, you know, everything's floating around.
Yeah. Well, so, you know, there are things where it's like, oh, this person made a reference to this thing. I'm gonna go look up so I understand. It's like, oh, Midna's the Twilight Princess. Not that I have any context for that, but okay, I'll just.
You play Smash Brothers and you think, I know everything now.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it, bombs. Arrows.
So there's a kid Link, there's an adult Link. I don't get it. It's fine.
But was there a point watching Ocarina of Time where you would just like oh, I'm in, I'm sucked in.
Yes, there was, and I'm trying to remember what exact point that was, because it was...
Because remember, we were
Yeah.
only going to watch the one game.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I-
suddenly we're in Majora.
And I was just like, oh, you guys are into
Really
this, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do Majora. And you're like, oh, you know.
We're saving the princess, eh? Oh, Majora's very different. Majora's very, very different. I think I was surprised that I think it must have been just the opening cutscene to Ocarina of Time, because that was the setup. It's like, okay, here's Zelda, here's Link. They're children. They're very cute. I'm like, I thought this was gonna be like, you know, you're already kind of the adult guy. Like, so this is Kid Link. Oh, okay. And then Ganon is frightening, and it's just kind of that like, I wouldn't be able to put my finger on it, but I think that was the point where it was like, okay, this actually is story focused, and there's something going on here. I was pretty much into it from that point onwards.
I like that.
Yeah.
They were like, there's something going on here. Not sure
I'm
what.
gonna get to the bottom of it.
I've got my sword. Oh, the castle's taken over.
I just love that guard that you find in the back
I
alley.
know.
I did
Yes.
fan art of that guy.
Yeah, I know.
Bless him.
There's so many moments where you're just like, you know, you're eager to get on with the adventure, and then something just comes left field, and you're like, oh, I have to stop and just like see what just happened.
That was the moment though, like, cause you know I played Link's Awakening. I knew about Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, and it was one of those where I got it so early in my life that I was too young to do the puzzles, because I didn't have a bigger brother or anyone who could help me out with it when I got stuck. It was just me. And so, you know, get to Bottle Grotto, can't get any further. I would just watch the opening over and over, and then eventually I move on to something else. But that's why I was so interested. It's like, yeah, I do. I want to watch Ocarina. I want to see what I missed that I probably would have loved. And with the openings, and you know, I love Ganon, you know, love the opening with the kids. I'm like, that's great, okay. Kind of what I was expecting though. Then when you're like, oh my god, he's about to do this thing where you can go, I'm like, huh? And the dying guard in the back alley, and I was like, I love this game. I like when it comes to just a little aside to give flavor to the world and a little extra humanity to these pixels that we are in our brains saying are alive. Now I'm sold. At that point I was like, I want to see all of these. I want to see every Zelda game that was made by this crew doing it. And that's why we went from Ocarina to Majora to
Twilight Princess. Yeah.
And they did Wind Waker as well, but
sorry, reflex.
Wind Waker, like, fantastic story, great game, like gameplay, great mechanics, great ideas, but I don't think there's anyone who can just get past the style that they chose to go with. It's sort of way too toony. It doesn't inspire the same, you know, call to adventure that you feel.
It's the wink to the camera.
Yeah.
They were too scared. They were like, okay, we did all this stuff, but if we keep doing it, I mean, look at all these other cutesy games we've gotten there. They were way more popular, let's be real. They were selling way more, and so they got scared, and they're like, all right, you know, we're going to go back to the toony stuff, or we're going to tone it down, and that's why after Twilight Princess, they toned it down. And they don't even realize they were toning it down, but they were.
Yeah, I really feel that Twilight Princess was a one-off response to the situation, because people were just, especially in North America, people were just so disappointed in the art style of Wind Waker that, and as well, Nintendo's whole, I think Miyamoto made a comment saying that this is now the way that Nintendo want to go. They want to be more child-friendly, and sort of match everything to the Mario kind of style, not realizing that people loved Zelda because it was not Mario.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny for me too, because, like, you know, coming in kind of from the after it's been said and done kind of angle, I knew about the Toon Link, I knew about, like, the traditional style for Legend of Zelda. I didn't really have that kind of impression of, like, this is what Zelda's supposed to be before seeing the Toon stuff. So, like, for me, I was just like, oh, I guess this is just different branches of the series. And here you guys talk about it. It's like, I want to play Wind Waker. I want to, like, see what the story is. But I'm like, how much does the style change the tone? Because now I'm curious, because I like toony stuff. That's kind of, you know, I like cutesy, cartoony stuff. That would be the kind of thing that would appeal to me.
It's very different growing up with a certain style of game, and then suddenly it changes. It was like a 180.
Yeah.
And so I feel that Twilight Princess, I mean, nobody saw Twilight Princess coming. Like, we thought that was it. Zelda's dead. And I believe that game was a one-off response to North Americans who did not appreciate Toon Link style.
Right.
And then after that, they continued.
They were just like, okay, like we satisfied them. Back
we
to
gave
Link.
them what we wanted, what they
Now
wanted.
back to the cute.
And then, you know, I don't think it's a coincidence that Aonuma, who was the director of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess, said he didn't want to do Zelda anymore after.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And since then, he's been a producer, but he's never like actually been directing and writing and doing anything for it.
He just got out of Dodge. 'Cause
Yeah.
He saw what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know, I don't think anyone will argue against us when we say that the games after Twilight Princess are very, very different.
Hot
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
Hot garbage.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that really did like affect my impression of the series, like, because the ones after Twilight Princess, I haven't played them myself, obviously, but they're brighter, they're cuter on the surface, you know, it's all very cheery, and I'm like, that might be the reason why I thought this was all a very positive, happy kind of series, and then
The key
It's like,
word
wait a
you said
second.
there was on the surface, because there's nothing under it.
I guess, yeah.
Like, I think I described it this way, and I think it's 100% right. Breath of the Wild and everything, you know, associated with that is quite literally Skyrim with the corners shaved off.
That's the perfect description.
It's not
I love
Zelda.
that.
It's not.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Link was very, very attractive in Twilight Princess.
Yes.
More of that,
Deliberately
please.
so.
More of that. Well, guys, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun to kind of you know, revisit Legend of Zelda as it's kind of coming up naturally again. I think I am gonna try and like play through or watch through Wind Waker and see. Maybe I'll go back and actually play some of the older games myself.
I mean, you might like Wind Waker, because
Yeah.
we're not sitting here going, you're not allowed to love
No,
Wind Waker.
I like cutesy stuff. Like, I know I'm gonna probably love
And
it.
it's, you know, I've played it several times. Great game, great mechanics, great story. They really played with the idea that this is a kid's game and these are children, and Ganondorf is hilarious because he's like this big villain launched into this cute world, and he's sort of just like, oh my god, my biggest enemy and the princess, they're like 10. I don't feel comfortable with this. I don't know what to do, and it's so good.
I'm not sure how comfortable I am with killing a kid. I'm over it.
Oh my god. Well, guys, thanks so much for listening and for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. I'm probably not going to be done with Legend of Zelda anytime soon, but in the meanwhile, guys, see you in the next video, and thanks again.
Bye.